Welcome back to In Spirit with Missy Reno Smith.
And I'm Vanna Smith, and in this episode we're going to be talking about archangels. So let's start off with the first question of what are archangels?
Well, archangels are a specific phylum of angels, Vanna. They are the chief angels. That's what their name means, chief angel.
So they're better than everyone else.
Are they better than everyone else? No. Okay. We all stand shoulder to shoulder, right? Before God, all beings, and same with the angels. But we all have different roles, and the roles of the archangels, it is special. So, I don't know.
God likes them maybe just a little bit more.
I don't know about that, but maybe. I'll give you a maybe on that. They are special. They're managers. Mm-hmm. They manage lots of things.
Yep.
They manage even the other phylum of angels.
Yep.
Phylum is such a weird word.
It's such a large and almost like a gross sounding word.
It's a weird word.
I almost think of phlegm. You know what I mean?
It is very phlegmy. It's a very phlegmy word. Well, okay, so and it's odd too because phylum, it's singular and plural.
Yep.
So it's weird. But no, the archangels are in charge of the other phylum. There are 12 total. Most people recognize 9, but God tells me there are 12, so I recognize 12.
Have you seen all 12 of them?
Absolutely.
So you know more than any other psychic medium knows.
I don't think so. I think other people do. I just don't know that they recognize these other beings as angels. And
in my eyes, you're special, Mama. You're the only one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love the support. But no, the archangels are special. They really are. And I think that they're special to us because we know some of them by name.
Yep. And
I think, people have been focused on here on Earth on the archangels for a long time. Doesn't matter what religion we're talking about, right? In Christianity and Judaism and all of that. We talk about Michael a lot, and Gabriel, and Uriel, Jophiel. There's a few, the big 7 that are mentioned in the Bible, and but other cultures have been mentioning them as well.
Yep.
The Greeks and the Romans, their gods and goddesses, those were archangels.
Yep.
And so it's really interesting that, we are, so drawn to them, I think, as people.
The Hindus as well have also, I think that they're all kind of, a lot of gods, like the Greek gods, whatever, are all just really inspired by them,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so it kind of doesn't matter what culture, on Earth, they're going to be talking about gods and goddesses and things like that. And really, they're talking mainly about archangels, a lot of them at least. And some of them overlap, one culture might, we might say Michael, or we might say Atlas or something. There's different names, but we're kind of talking about the same angels and that. So so the archangels are interesting. I think I think we're so drawn to them because, they do seem so powerful.
Yeah.
But they're in charge of such big things. They can come into our life and, help us in various ways. They can kind of do maybe bigger things than our guardian angels.
But how are they really all that much different than our regular angels and our guardian angels? Are they just a lot more powerful? They can do miracles? What really differentiates them?
It's the control that they have over our life, what they're capable of. Our guardian angels are bound within our life plan to help us. There are certain things that they can and cannot do, because we have to live out our plan. But if our plan can change, if we need something changed, or if we just need a really big pick-me-up
Yep.
or something. I mean, God can send an archangel,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can get that done. They're code masters too, right? Like this place is sort of like the Matrix. We talk about that. You're
I'm
Neo,
You're
I'm
Morpheus.
So each archangel has a very specific area that they are sort of in control of. And it's helpful to know, which ones do what, I think personally, because then we know who to ask for.
So why did God make all these like different types of angels that do different things? Like the archangels, they all kind of do like their own little things, perform their own little miracles. Why didn't he just make like one like giant angel, like one that's just like trumps all the other angels that can just do everything? Why make 12 of them?
Well, I think Metatron is that, personally. Metatron's one of my favorite angels. We call him an archangel. I think he's actually more of a dominion, but he's really powerful, what he can do here on Earth, what he controls. No, there are angels that are sort of like kind of all around things, but creation is so giant.
Yeah.
It is huge, and this dimension here, this learning dimension, is enormous, and there's so much to be done. God needs a lot of helpers. I like to say that angels are like God's fingers. They're doing God's work.
That's a little a little odd there.
It is. The angels are like God's fingers. They are doing God's work, and there's a lot of work to be done.
But if the angels are God's fingers, are we like his toes or something?
I don't know what we
Their
are.
toes.
I don't know what we are. We're something. Yeah, we're probably closer to the ground, I guess. We're the toes. Okay. No, but the angels are getting things done. And the archangels in particular, there are archangels that are in control of certain areas, like the area we currently reside in Arizona. There is an archangel that her job is to watch over this place, and I call her Dusty because it's very dusty here, and
Full of dust.
it's the desert. So that's what I call her. That's my name. I've given her my little nickname. But so Dusty is in charge of basically the whole area of Arizona, not necessarily the borders of the state. She goes beyond, so like things that need to be done here, God can call upon her, and then she'll go in and she'll get it done. There are archangels that are in charge of, specific nations, and, so it's, like location-wise here, or certain things, famine, we need an archangel that's like overseeing, our food, and the people who don't have enough of it, trying to make sure that, things are kind of going as well as they possibly can. I mean, this is a learning dimension, so it doesn't mean everything's supposed to go right. But they're supposed to get, God's will done. So like all these little things, there's an archangel for it. But the same thing in heaven too. There are things that need to take place, governing and such. There's order, and they take care of that. The work that they do with the other phylums, the things that they do, there's an archangel that sort of oversees each one. And, Michael is a favorite.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Michael in another episode, just Michael. But, he's in charge of the principalities. And the principalities are sort of like the warrior, in a way. It's not like we have wars in heaven or anything like that, but you need, sort of like protector type angels.
Those would be some pretty ultimate wars, I imagine.
Yeah, on Earth.
It'd be badass.
Yeah, so they sort of are over that, and of course Michael is about protection, courage, bravery, things like that. So like each one has a purpose, has a job, and that's because there's just so much to get done.
Now we've talked in past episodes about there are angels that actually have sex. So do the archangels also have sex with each other or with humans as well?
They are getting it on over there. That's all I know. Yes, and yes to all of the above. Yeah, no, sex exists in heaven. It exists between angels. It exists between humans and angels. And, it's not about procreation up there, of course. I mean, the souls that exist and the angels that exist, they exist. We were all created at the same time.
It's not about procreation, it's just about fun.
It's about fun. It's about connection. It's a much deeper connection over there than it is here on Earth. Here on Earth, we have sort of like boundaries. There are like a very clear boundaries of where, I, stop and, begin whatever and where, another person does. And in heaven, things are a little blurry. Lines are a little blurred, and we're able to sort of merge in a way that is much deeper. So it's an important part of life over there, just like it is here, but for similar purposes, but and also different. But yeah, the archangels, they're over there, maybe you've been with an archangel. I don't know.
I'd want to know. I'd want to know. That'd be interesting to know, because I'd want to know what the hell that experience is like. I mean,
yeah.
It would probably be different than I imagine being with another spirit and being with another angel, like a regular angel. I'm sure it would be very different. But if I had to choose, I'd want to be with one of the angels that are, what's the name of their thing? The ones that are a lot of eyes.
Okay, so that's the thrones, and the thrones are very misunderstood.
Yeah.
They are not a bunch of eyes. The throne angels, their form is humanoid, sort of. They do have legs and arms and a head. It's just everything is shaped very differently, but they come in and out of focus. They're going to a place beyond creation, what we know of as creation. They are God's angels. They're like God's guardian angels, the thrones are. And so I think as they come in and out of focus, their eyes become their eyes sort of stay in focus, even though their body is flickering in and out.
Yep.
And since they sort of stand around God in the throne of God, I think that's why people thought they were a wheel of eyes. It's very odd. Yeah. But if you're in that room and you stop and you focus and you look, and I do these things because I paint them, right? Yep. I don't have a throne painting yet. I have some sketches I'm preparing to do a portrait, but they're just very different. Yeah. So if you want to be with a throne angel, that means you'd be going in and out of focus. You'd be going to an entirely different dimension. You'd be going to where God is from.
So then that would be the one I'd want to be with.
I think that would be a very interesting angel to choose if you were going to have a relationship, whether it's just sex or whether it's an actual relationship. People have relationships with them. And I don't know specifically about the thrones, but, maybe you could be the first. I don't know.
I'll be the first.
He'd tell us what it's like. No, I don't know. I mean, everybody knows I love Metatron because he came to me when I was 5, but that's also a little weird because he came to me when I was so little. So I don't know that I'd want a relationship with Metatron.
But you see so many of these archangels, you've gotten to know them a lot. I imagine on the other side, you might be, getting down with them, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe I don't have any recollection of that, and I have more access to my memories, I think, than the average person does, or feels like it. I do, because I remember my time over there, and I remember my time in past lives and things, and I don't seem to have memory of relationships with angels personally.
Unless they're just making you forget it.
Unless they're making me forget it, so it's not so weird while I'm here. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, but I don't feel feelings like that for them when I connect with them.
Yep.
And when I'm communicating with them, I don't feel any sort of like attraction like that, like a sexual attraction. So,
Even though you're painting their abs and their beautiful eyes,
yeah,
their perfect bodies.
I do like a good nude of an archangel.
I mean, on your phone screen you have, which one was it?
Gabriel.
Gabriel, and he's shirtless. He's got his abs out, you know?
He's looking really good. Yeah, Gabriel's looking really good there. Yeah, I've got a really nice one of Raphael. That was a commissioned portrait for a friend. She wanted sort of a very classical angel portrait, sort of Renaissance-y. And I'm like, I'm just going to drape a little fabric on him, And, they look good. I've got a sketch of Michael coming out. It's going to be released in, I think, November. And it's just his upper body, but you see some nice pecs there.
Some pecs, some abs, the whole thing.
He looks pretty good. They look pretty good, yeah. But I don't feel those feelings about them when I connect with them. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just into humans.
No aliens, nothing else you into?
I mean, like, totally the aliens. Like, I feel like I'm an alien just because I don't feel like I'm from this place. I mean, we're all, like, we, the children of God, like human or alien if we're in a different planet in this dimension, but technically we're all the same species. So It's not so much being an alien, it's just being from a different place. So I think I'm just into the children of God, maybe. That's also weird to say it like that. In heaven, we're all the same age. We aren't children in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't see children in heaven. I mean, children can certainly be exploring and wandering, from here. I mean, I used to explore all the time when I was a kid. But, technically we're all the same age over there. So it's like everything just is, I don't know, fine. But
there are some people that have like a little bit of gray hair, you've told me before, so none of them choose to look younger?
So, okay, depending on your experience level, you might choose to display some gray hair or some very well-placed, beautiful wrinkles, but technically nobody looks old, and, decay is something that I don't see in heaven, in people, in angels, even in the environment. Like, I don't see decay in, the trees or things like that. Like, you don't see, like, here, like, we go through seasons and, leaves, they fall, they die, they fall off the tree. That I don't see things like that happening. Not in a way where it's like about them dying. I mean, it might be just because they like, that's what they do.
It's just a little bit of like aesthetic purposes.
Yeah. There's like, I just painted a tree that, has these sort of flower petals that sort of float down, and it's very beautiful, but it's not like everything is like dying over there. So no, so decay and aging and that just doesn't exist for us, and it doesn't exist for the archangels either.
So none of them choose to look older, like with any sort of like gray hairs or anything like that.
They might, and it's a choice, and it's to show their sort of wisdom, and that it's definitely something that we do, but still when you look at them, they don't look old.
Yeah.
It's still not like here. Not exactly. And, they could sort of shake it off, and it just, the gray hair goes away. I mean, so it's like, maybe it's like, what do I want to look like today?
Yeah.
Sort of, we're all creators, and that over there, the laws of physics and things are different. So we can choose. And, that actually brings up an interesting point about the archangels and things. When they come here to connect with people, if they need to connect with people, they can show themselves in a way that that person would relate to better.
Yeah.
So maybe that person needs to see, somebody maybe of their own race, or somebody, like maybe they need to hear this message from a woman.
Yeah.
It's like they can kind of do whatever they need to do to get that across. Now, I, of course, do portraits of the archangels, and my request of them is to just show me how we see you in heaven. I don't need to see you any certain way.
Yep.
I just want to paint you as you are, as I see you, and so don't change anything for me. And they've all agreed to that, and so I just paint them how I see them, and how they look, and certainly they. I mean, I guess they could be saying this is how I want Earth to see me, but but this is how they look to me over there, and and archangels do look a lot like humans, but not all angels do, but the archangels certainly do. So,
but they do have some little differences that I've noticed in your paintings, like their eyes look a bit different than ours.
They're bigger.
Yeah.
The eyes of angels, that's why I tend to talk about angel eyes. I say angel eyes are if I see somebody with really big eyes or like a very defined lower lid, I'll be like, oh, they have angel eyes. I get very excited about angel eyes. So the irises are larger as well. So just in relation to the size of the eye is larger, and then the iris is larger too, just in relation, and that bigger than ours. And so they get more color, right? Bigger area of color, and their lower lids tend to be a little more defined. I think I see that a lot more on cherubims and guardian angels, the really well-defined lower lids. But yeah, they've got big eyes, beautiful, beautiful eyes. Not so large that they're like, alien looking or anything, but they're definitely bigger.
What do they need those giant eyes for, really?
Oh gosh, heaven is so colorful. There are so many colors in heaven. Our eyes are larger over there too, not quite as big as the angels' eyes, but our eyes are larger.
And that portrait you have of me over there, my eyes are pretty big.
They're pretty big, yeah. I think it's to take in all of the beautiful colors. There are so many more colors there than there are here. It's very frustrating for me as an artist because I can't paint them.
Yeah.
I don't have the colors on my palette to make what I see over there, and it's just very frustrating. So I think it's to take all of that in. Heaven is a very it's not this like bright white place that we sort of picture in clouds. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like Earth, the most beautiful places of Earth, and but even more striking, and I see there's a lot of stuff that glows. There's a lot of iridescence, there's a lot of sparkle, there's I love the movie Avatar because a lot of that glowy stuff I see over there. And it's just a really beautiful place, so I think those big eyes just help us take it in.
So where do the archangels live in that, beautiful, wonderful, glowing place of heaven?
Well, okay, so all of the angel phylums, they have their own sort of space, a space that was given to them to congregate. Everybody's free to go. We can visit it. They are certainly free to leave. They go wherever, God needs them, but they do have a place. And I call this place Archangeles.
Why do you call it Archangeles?
Because I get to name it. I get to give it a name that we can pronounce with our vocal cords. And that's the name I chose because it sounds like Los Angeles. It's the city of archangels. It's Archangeles. And so that's what I call it. And it's very gold. It's very golden. As a matter of fact, there's some really, really beautiful trees and flowers and things that are gold as well. Just yesterday, I did a painting of a tree that exists in Archangeles, and I just call it the inner glow tree because it has this sort of golden inner glow that it creates. So if you're standing sort of under this tree, like it's like everything is sort of glowing. It's
Yep.
very beautiful, very gold, very beautiful, and that exists in Archangeles, that area. There's also a very like mirror-like quality to the buildings. They're sort of gold, very mirrory. So
Yeah.
like as you're coming up to it, like it's like shining everywhere.
If
like
only
it's,
Los Angeles looked like that.
yeah, it would. Oh my God, yeah, it would be so beautiful if that city looked like that. And there's water. It's not on an ocean. It's not like Los Angeles is right on the ocean. It's not, but there are lots of rivers flowing through it. There are some mountains. I think sort of off to, and it's hard to say north, south, east, and west there because I get a little backwards, I guess, in terms of like directions and such. But when I'm looking at it, sort of kind of going straight in, like I will go in, when I look off to the right, there are some big mountains and things. But it does have some really big trees, in there that trees that are like as tall as buildings and things there. I mean, it's a really beautiful place. So this is sort of where they can congregate. This is where they can go. It might be where they have a place that they consider their home. It might be, they have meetings and things with other archangels. They are making plans. They're, doing whatever it is that they do. Like all of that sort of takes place in Archangeles.
I mean, how big is this place? If you had to like relate it to like an earthly thing, is it like the size of a state, a country, the size of a town? How big is it?
Oh my God, in terms of Earth size, it's ginormous. It is
Like the size of a country?
more like the size of a country. Yeah. First of all, everything is bigger over there.
Yeah.
It's just, everything's just large. We are bigger. Our bodies are bigger,
It's like Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. So it's sort of like that, like everything's just so much bigger, but there are, we tend to talk about the big seven, right?
Yep.
The archangels, Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and, the big seven. And there's so many of them, just like there's so many of us. I mean,
Yep.
there's just, their numbers are just enormous. And so if they all have their own little place and everything, I mean, it's going to be this huge, giant place. And then there's all these, open spaces or places where they congregate. And, there's just a lot happening. So it's very large. I would say maybe it's the size of North America, so not just
the entire North America.
yeah. I think if I had to guess, I would say it's probably like that.
Wow.
And the city center, the place that I call Archangeles, like where I'm talking about like the city, that would be sort of the heart of it. Where all the big things are taking place, and then everything is sort of spread out like that. But it doesn't feel like a continent in over there. It doesn't feel like so large. I mean, it's just everything's bigger. So
I mean, how do we travel around that, Like, it takes us, 24 hours to drive from, Los Angeles just to the other side, like New York,
it's probably longer than
Longer
that,
than
but,
that. It takes, 2 days, maybe.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, the laws of physics are different over there. We are. I don't really see a lot of vehicles. There are vehicles.
Yeah.
Things that we can get in and and be moved. But we tend to travel at the speed of thought. It is not a thought dimension. It is a very physical place. This place is more like a thought dimension
This
to
is
me.
a hologram.
Yes, this is a hologram. Heaven is real life. It is real. We only consider it to be this sort of ethereal thought like place because when we do perceive it from here, we perceive it as being sort of ghostly.
Yep.
And that, but it is not. It is solid. It is real. But yet at the same time, the laws of physics are different. So we can't compare this place to that place. It's just different. If I want to be somewhere, I'm there. Wherever I
You
want
just
to be.
have to, you're just teleporting around.
Basically. And look, there's a science to it. I mean, there is an explanation. I am the wrong person to sort of describe all of that. But I just know that we just get to where we need to get to.
We need a scientist who's also a psychic medium.
That would be ideal. Like, I do a lot of sketching, and I get a lot of things. I get to see things for the future, like, and I do my best to like sketch them out, draw them out, or describe them. Maybe, someday people will take these things, and these are not things that I put out to the public. There are things that will be willed to you and your siblings, and maybe they'll become something later. But we would probably need somebody smarter than me to take them and say, okay, this is how this works, and that. But so I'm not the right person to say this is how it works. But I do know that the laws of physics are different, and that we shouldn't make comparisons, and we have to remember that we're all creators.
Yep.
And we were made by our creators. They just, what they want to be is. And since we are the children of God, we have that ability too. And we can create our own spaces, and angels are an extension of God, so they have that ability. And, so we just go where we need to go. And so if you're in Archangeles, if you're, in this city of archangels, and you want to go say hey to Michael at his place, you want to be
what's
there.
Up?
Yeah, say hey, what's up? So you want to be there. Maybe you want to ask him out on a date. But
I might.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. But no, you're there. You want to be there. You're there.
Well, I think that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us.
And just remember that God loves you, and I'm sending angels your way.
If you'd like to know more about Missy Reno Smith, her readings, her artwork, please visit MissyRenoSmith.com. You can also find In Spirit Podcast on TikTok, X, and Instagram, as well as YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts.